In the age before the great flood, the world was young. The sons of God, the watchers who walked the firmament, gazed upon the mortal realm. They saw that the daughters of men were fair, and a lustful shadow fell upon their hearts. Forsaking their celestial posts, they descended, taking wives of flesh and blood in an unhallowed union. And from this profane covenant, a forbidden bloodline was born, the Nephilim. They were giants, the embodiment of a ravenous hunger that the earth could not satisfy. The flesh of men became their feast, the rivers, their wine. They trampled the mountains and bled the land dry, and the very spirit of creation let out a silent, agonizing cry beneath their tyranny. Silence fell upon the kingdom of heaven. The suffering of the world was reflected in the Creator's gaze, filled with a sorrow as deep as his resolve. A cleansing was necessary, a divine sanction to end this rampant corruption. But who could wield such thunder? Who could bear the light into the heart of darkness and not be consumed by it? And so, he was chosen. Lucifer, son of the dawn, the bearer of light, heaven's most brilliant star, the sharpest edge of the divine will. He accepted this sorrowful mandate, a mission not of creation, but of termination. He would carry the righteous fury of God, descending upon the shadowed earth as the first and final light. And so, the hunt began. He moved through valleys and ruins, the spear of light in his hand, a hymn of death. With every giant that fell, the earth breathed a little easier. This was not a war of equals. It was a precise, cold, and calculated purification. He fell not as a rebel, but as a razor. His feet touched the fractured soil, the air thick with despair and blood. He saw them, the so-called heroes of old, and found them to be nothing but hollow shells of power, animated by a warped and insatiable desire. It was a confrontation between primordial might and divine law. The giant king's strength could shatter continents, but Lucifer's light could judge the soul. This was not a battle for territory, but for the soul of creation itself. He carved a path to the heart of the corruption, to a throne of bone and crude stone. There, the king of the Nephilim, a final monster who had inherited the wisdom of angels and the cruelty of man, awaited him. When the final spear of brilliance pierced that colossal form, no blood was spilled. There was only the shriek of a tainted spirit being unmade. Then, the king of giants crumbled, turning to dust, returning to the earth he had never revered. The mission was complete. The world was saved. But as Lucifer stood upon the silent peak, bathed in the light of a new dawn, he felt no triumphant joy. He had wielded sacred destruction. He had personally extinguished life, however corrupted it may have been. In the heart of the victor, a terrible seed was planted. It was the knowledge of power, the realization that one's will could unmake creation. For the first time, he understood the profound totality of destruction. He returned to the heavens carrying this heavy awareness. His light remained as brilliant as ever, but unseen by any, a tiny shadow had been born in its very heart.